الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الذين ينقضون عهد الله من بعد ميثاقه ويقطعون ما أمر الله به أن يوصل ويفسدون في الأرض أولئك هم الخاسرون. صدق الله العظيم. Regarding the tafseer of ayat number 27 of Surat al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while mentioning the qualities or the attributes of those who are misguided, of those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already decided that they will not be benefited, or they will not gain any benefit from the Quran or the Kalamullah. Rather, the Kalamullah will become for them something very difficult to understand, and they'll be misled by it. There are those who are the fasiqun, وَمَا يُضِلُّ بِهِ إِلَّا الْفَاسِقِينَ. Only the fasiqeen are left astray from the truth or from hidayah and guidance. That was the ending of ayat number 26. Their first quality of the fasiqeen, الَّذِينَ يَنْقُضُونَ عَهْدَ اللَّهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مِيثَاقِهِ. They are those who break their covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after it has been made established or they've made it strong. We already went over the aspects of shirk, associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or denying the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala altogether. In our day-to-day lives, as human beings, we have many various items that we use. Depending on the level of benefit and uniqueness of the item that we have, that is how much effort was put into it, how much thought was put into it. And eventually the company or organization that came up with that particular item, often at times they want to protect their rights to that item. They want to be given the due credit for that item, and they want to be the sole beneficiary, the sole entity to make profits from that item. So in the 21st century, in the United States of America and the Western culture, we have made a system of copyright infringement laws. And there are also lawsuits if anyone infringes on those laws. Why? Because if someone infringes on it, then they are taking credit for something that they have not made, but rather they have duplicated. Just remember that this is not in the eastern part of the world. Okay, there are many items taken from the west, duplicated in the east, and that's a whole other discussion for another time. But in the Western world, due respect is given to the artist, to the manufacturer, to the inventor, to the original entity that made that product. And if anyone else lays claim to it in any way without written permission from the sole owner or inventor or artist, so there are laws in place to make sure that there are lawsuits and due process is taken so that the artist is protected, the inventor is protected, the manufacturer is protected, the companies are protected. If it goes to a grand scale, you have massive corporations that sue one another over these laws. Sometimes some software is used, some software is taken, some designs are taken, and so on and so forth. So sometimes these lawsuits go into the millions, if not the billions of dollars. And this is to show the level of protection given to the original inventor or artist. Why is this so serious in human society? We understand. Sometimes we may think, why is it so much? Or why is the lawsuit so high? This is justice so that the people who originally made it are given due respect and due credit. If anyone else claims that credit, so this is a form of oppression. Because oppression is to take someone's right when you don't deserve it. That is what the essence of oppression is. Or if we give credit to someone that doesn't deserve that credit, so that is also oppression. And the same applies to shirk, associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because one can marvel at how amazing this creation is. There are times when you start to study the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one can be surprised at what a system Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. Forget what is on the outside in the universe. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ. Just look within your own selves. How many systems are operating, how many systems are working. One can marvel at what a creation Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. One part of the body goes wrong. How difficult is it to fix it? And to replace it, you can't even replace it. We human beings don't have that level of understanding to be able to even replace certain organs. And even if we do replace it or we claim we can replace it, how many problems are there with those replacements? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created such a body, one can just marvel. So justice is that we give due credit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for having created such a perfect creation. And to give that credit to anyone or anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then that is creation. And creation does not deserve such credit. So that is what is dhulm or oppression. And in regards to giving creation the status of creator, so that is the ultimate oppression. And that is the ultimate injustice. That is why in the Quran, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about shirk or associating partners with Him, He tells us in the Quran, إِنَّ الشِّرْكَ لَظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ. Definitely this shirk, it is the ultimate oppression. Other sins Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He will forgive if a person repents. But shirk is such a sin that so long as a person is indulged in shirk or involves in shirk, none of their a'mal, none of their righteous deeds are accepted. They may perform whatever good deeds they want, but so long as a person is involved in shirk, none of those good deeds are accepted. We're told in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَن يَشَاءُ وَمَن يُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ ضَلَّ ضَلَالًا بَعِيدًا. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will never forgive shirk, that you associate partners with Him. But He will forgive any other sin. He will forgive any other infringement, so long as a person repents. And this shirk, associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is a very open and manifest error. You've gone astray, those that involve and indulge in shirk, and associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a very, very important concept to understand. And even in our world, we have certain governments, and so long as the law of the land says something, if someone goes against that or rebels against the law of the land, or they don't accept the authority of the land, what happens to them? They're considered rebels, and sometimes those people disappear, for lack of better words. So what happens to them? Only those who know and those who really understand what is done to those groups or those kind of people, that in the end the government or the authority or the law of the land deals with them. Why? Because they're challenging the authority of the land that they live in, and that power that they live under and they benefit from. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the supreme power. We deny that power, or we challenge that authority, then in reality all we do is we deserve to be punished by Him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save all of us. So this is how dangerous shirk is. This is how dangerous associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. And this stems from making that very original contract of accepting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as our Rabb. The second attribute of the fasiqeen is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَيَقْطَعُونَ مَا أَمَرَ اللَّهُ بِهِ أَن يُوصَلْ, and they cut and break whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded to establish, the ties of kinship. That with the relatives, they break their rights, they do not fulfill the rights of their relatives. They do not fulfill the rights of those around them, they do not fulfill the rights of even every Muslim. Remember, even a Muslim has rights on us, very, very serious rights on us. Our parents have great rights on us, our siblings have rights on us, our relatives have rights on us. Islam is a deen, a religion of huquq. It is a religion of rights. And those rights have to be fulfilled. Often the time we demand our rights and we break everyone else's right. This is not how it should be. This is not how a Muslim should be. But from the examples of the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the examples of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, what kind of lifestyle they set forth, the system they set forth in regards to establishing the ties of kinship, in regards to looking after the rights of one another, it is a very, very serious matter. Anyone who cuts those ties, there's nothing but destruction for those. The hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam speaks about the womb of our mothers, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has even named the womb after one of His names. The Rahim, the womb which connects us to our relatives, which connects us to all those around us. In this deen, it is called the Rahim, which comes from the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ar-Rahman or Ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahma, mercy, kindness, compassion. And then in that hadith Qudsi, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, whosoever establishes this womb, or establishes the rights of those around them, establishes the huquq and the rights, so I will establish them. And whosoever breaks it, I will break them. And breaks the rahim, breaks the ties of kinship, that person will also be broken. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has even given the name from one of His names. This is how important it is to take care of the rights of those around us. The third quality Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions of the fasiqeen, وَيُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, they spread mischief in the land. And this fasad stems from being tellmongers or instigators. They go about spreading tales in the society, causing discord, turning brothers against brothers and relatives against relatives and friends against friends. This is the quality of the fasiqeen, that they spread these tales. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has told us in a hadith, لا يدخل الجنة قاطع في رواية قاطع رحم, that the one who cuts the ties and spreads this kind of mischief, they will not enter Jannah. And in the next hadith we're told, or in another hadith we're told, لا يدخل الجنة قطات, that the qattat will not enter Jannah. The person who is the instigator, a talebearer, person who's tellmonger, the person who's spreading tales, instigator, they're spreading these lies, instigating people against one another. That kind of person will not enter paradise. And this stems also from backbiting, from making a mockery of others. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curses those in the Quran as well. وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ, that the humaza and lumaza, they are those who are the backbiters and those who spread about tales, hurting the rights of people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says they are cursed. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this a very, very major sin. In the other ayat of Surah Al-Hujurat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He likens this sin to eating the flesh of your dead brother. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the ayat of the Quran, إِنَّ بَعْدَ ظَنِّ إِثْمٍ وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا وَلَا يَغْتَبْ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا, and do not have this hatred and this backbiting against one another. يحب أحدكم أن يأكل لحم أخيه ميتا فكرهتموه. Would any of you like to eat the flesh of your dead brother? You would hate to do something like that. Or you would hate فكرهتموه. You would have a karaha against that. So this is one of the very first aspects of spreading fasad, spreading this kind of discord. This was the quality of the munafiqeen or the hypocrites. They used to spread this kind of discord. And from that, the other fasad also spreads. Various types where they used to make a mockery of the righteous people. And they used to try their best to put down those who are righteous or make fun of their qualities. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in this ayah that amongst the attributes of the fasiqeen, who are misguided and misled, وَيُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, they cause fasad in the land. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. Those that have those qualities in their life, in reality they are real losers. In this world, we may have our own system of who a loser may be. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defines the people who have these qualities as losers. Those who break their contracts with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those who break their ties of kinship. And those who spread mischief in the earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in reality these are losers. And the question may be asked, why do they do this? It's because they don't fear or they don't have yaqeen or any kind of hope or conviction in the life hereafter. And they also forget where they come from. And this level of arrogance is something that is so serious. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the next ayah, كَيْفَ تَكْفُرُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَكُنْتُمْ أَمْوَاتًا فَأَحْيَاكُمْ ثُمَّ يُمِيتُكُمْ ثُمَّ يُحْيِيكُمْ ثُمَّ إِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. Ayat number 28 of Surat Al-Baqarah. That how can you disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How can you deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? وَكُنْتُمْ أَمْوَاتًا, when you were dead, you were nothing before. فَأَحْيَاكُمْ, then we gave you life. We made you someone, we made you something. ثُمَّ يُمِيتُكُمْ, a time is coming, then you have to die again. ثُمَّ إِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ, then after that you will return back to us. In this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes one thing very clear, that the kuffar or disbelievers, they forget where they come from. All of us, we came from a place where we were not known. There was a time when we were nothing. In fact, there was a time where nobody even knew we would exist. Just go back. Before we came into this dunya, who were we? We were nothing. A time came where we became something not even worth being mentioned. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-Insan or Surah Dahr, هَلْ أَتَى عَلَى الْإِنسَانِ حِينٌ مِّنَ الدَّهْرِ لَمْ يَكُنْ شَيْئًا مَذْكُورًا. Wasn't there a time that passed over this human being that he was something not even worth being mentioned? Then we came into this dunya, we came into this world. إِنَّا خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِن نُطْفَةٍ أَمْشَاجٍ نَبْتَلِيهِ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that then we made this human being, and we made him also to hear and to also see. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gave us the choice. إِنَّا هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلِ إِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed us the path. We could either be grateful or we could choose disbelief. So a time came upon us when we were in the very, very early stages of our life. What were we? Who were we? And yet what arrangements Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made for our existence. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, وَاللَّهُ أَخْرَجَكُم مِّن بُطُونِ أُمَّهَاتِكُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ شَيْئًا. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who brought you from the wombs of your mothers. You didn't know anything. We didn't even know how to eat. We didn't know what sleeping time was. We didn't even know how to use our organs. We didn't know anything. What does the infant child know? The child that is born. And all of us passed through that stage. We didn't know anything and we were nothing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the ayah in the Quran that He is the one who has brought you from the wombs of your mothers. لَا تَعْلَمُونَ شَيْئًا. You didn't know anything at that time. وَجَعَلَ لَكُمُ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارَ وَالْأَفْئِدَةَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you the faculty of hearing, the faculty of sight, and the faculty of understanding, that you may be grateful. It's amazing, it's mentioned in this order. The baby can hear in the womb of the mother. You come into this world, after 1-2 days or some time, you're able to open your eyes and see. As far as understanding, it comes much later. Sometimes after 2 years or 3 years, you start to basically understand how to talk, and basics you start. As far as real aql, real intellect, it comes much later in life. The young child, they reach the youth age, then you start understanding. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives this tartib in the Quran. And how could have someone known 1400 years ago that a baby also hears in the womb of the mother? This in itself is evidence that this Quran is the kalam of Allah. It is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They didn't have the science they have nowadays where they could check if the baby can hear in the womb of the mother or not. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions these faculties in perfect order. And not only this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after giving us these favors, He gave us a chance to use these favors to become someone in this life. Our names were known, we had contacts, we had friends. We became known. And with that known, then some of us, or there are those who become so arrogant that they deny the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they're ungrateful for the favors that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed on them. And then after that, a time is coming where we have to leave this world. ثُمَّ يُمِيتُكُمْ, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will cause you death. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will again take our arwah, take our souls. We have to leave this world. No one has come into this dunya eternally. This world is just a passing phase, a passing phenomena. No one has come into this world to live forever. And no one will live forever in this dunya, in this world. And the reality of this world is that anything that happens to us, it shall pass. Good conditions, they pass. Bad conditions, they pass. We never stay perpetually in one condition. There may be a time where we have nothing. That time also passes. Time we have everything. That time also passes. The changing phenomena of this dunya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this world as a deception. You know the reality of a deception? It doesn't last very long. For how long you can deceive? You know the magician, when they do magic, how long does their magic trick last? Not even 1 minute. Sometimes 2 minutes. Because they know if it lasts longer than that, people will figure it out. They say, oh, we got you, you know. Because if it lasts longer, this is the reality of the magic trick. If it lasts longer than that, so what happens? You figure it out. That's the reality of the passing of this dunya also. We go through one condition, we think it's so long, you know. We stretch it out. Oh, this long time. The person who's going through difficulty every day seems like 1 year, you know. We make it so long. And then once the difficulty passes, how many cases we have? People, they don't have jobs and they're looking for jobs. Sometimes weeks pass, months pass. They go through many, many difficulties. And then as soon as they get a job, within 1 week, they forget the many, many months and years that they spent looking for a job. Everything, it seems just like a dream that passed, you know. This is the reality of this dunya. This is the magic of this world. That the phenomena of this world, they change, they pass. And so be very, very careful how we treat people. Today, we may have the upper hand. And if we oppress someone, there's a chance tomorrow they will have the upper hand. This world is a changing phenomenon. Don't ever think that this world lasts. So be very, very careful how we should treat people. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us understanding and give us the tawfiq to practice His deen. One humble request before dua is that if you bring children with you, please try to make them sit with you. Otherwise, they'll be banging the doors and making the noise. MashaAllah, you're looking at me and I'm looking at them. Yes? Easy for you to have khushu, you're looking at me. I'm looking at them.
I've lost my hearing, but I can still hear them. That's pretty bad.
So this, and it does distract. This is distraction. These kind of hadaqat or hadaqat of idam. If we cannot keep our children to sit with us, then humble request, please leave them at home. Because they'll distract the halaqah, they'll distract the attention of the speaker. Sometimes the message doesn't go the way it should. It breaks the train of thought. And you're driving on the road normally and some obstacle comes, what happens? The driving school is gone, you know. The whole thought is gone.
No texting, no.
Yeah, that's why they have this no texting, otherwise, you know.
Unless it's a car.
Yes. So, unless it's a cop. Yes, then the cop texts it. So this is a reality with the children also. If you bring them, please keep them with you. We have this, we always make this excuse with them that we want to bring them so they can learn. How are they going to learn if they're playing around? Huh? If you want to teach them, keep your children with you. And you might be thinking, okay, the imam will say something, or the masjid board will say something. They're your responsibility. You brought them to the masjid. You keep them with you. If you cannot keep your children with you, then please humbly keep them at home, because they will disturb these kind of halaqat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us understanding. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالقرآن وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وادخلنا في الجنة بالقرآن. اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا وفي القبر مونسا وعلى الصراط نورا وفي الجنة رفيقا ومن النار سترا وحجابا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. سبحان